Hello, fellow Blue Baggers. My name is Bangkok Joe, your host, and welcome to Blue Sunday here on the Jumper Punch channel. Okay, as usual, allow me to introduce our panellists. Underneath me, I guess it's the same, a man who needs no introduction, life member of the Carlton Football Club. We know him as Big Vincenz. I'm referring to the one and the only Mr. Vince Lochisano. Good evening, Vince. How are you today?
G'day, Joe. I'm doing okay considering the magnitude of that loss yesterday, but no doubt we'll dissect all of that very soon. But otherwise, I'm all right.
That's good. Next to me that way, I have our newest panel member who represents the Gen Z supporters. You all know him as Sebba, but we know him as Michael Sebastiani. How are you tonight, Michael?
Could be better.
Okay. And underneath Sebba, a man who the Carlton faithful know he needs no introduction. He's a Norm Smith medalist, premiership player, played 182 games spanning 13 years, 106 of those for Carlton in an 8-year period. I'm referring to the guy that we all know as the hyphen, Mr. David Rhys Jones. How are you tonight, David?
Yeah, good. Better than last night. So, yeah.
Yes. Funny everyone says that, isn't it?
We haven't had enough time to get over it, like when we lose on a Thursday night, have we, Rhys?
Yeah, no, the Thursday nights have been all right, actually, because you have a bit of get over it. You try and make sense of it, but it still doesn't make much sense at the moment.
Imagine if we had done our show last night. We'd be...
No, well, we wouldn't have got on because...
We'd be all doom and gloom.
Well, we wouldn't have because emergency meeting went till like probably 1 a.m. But anyway. Anyway, hey, before we go ahead, just a little bit of admin. The show is proudly sponsored by General Chicken Company, 20 years of experience, high-quality local ingredients, affordable pricing. For people like me, great seniors discounts. And if you need some catering, give them a call. There's the phone number there, 03 9457 3303. And they're located in McLeod. And we will be going there when I'm in Australia in about 10 days' time. So I look forward to that. Now, I told Sebba that I'm pulling a surprise tonight. So I want you all to sit back. Last night, I was so pissed off, I thought I'd pen an open letter. All right? So I'm just going to read it to you. Mm-hmm. These are my opinions. You can agree or disagree. It's just how I feel.
Okay.
So this is what I want to say. Dear fellow Carlton supporters and the Carlton Football Club, having been a supporter and member of the Carlton Football Club for 50 years, I cannot sit here any longer without sharing my feelings about this once great club. The club that I have loved and followed for so long has fallen from grace and is totally insignificant. This club, once the powerhouse of the VFL AFL, has fallen so far from its former glory that is almost unrecognisable. This is a club that once struck fear into opponents, that commanded respect across the competition, and that embodied the spirit of success. Today, however, it has become a shadow of itself, a team that inspires ridicule rather than reverence. The decline has been nothing short of tragic. Where success and premierships once flowed, now mediocrity and failure reigns. Where legends like David once walked and supporters held their heads high with pride, I now see a revolving door of coaches, players, failed strategies and supporters with their heads bowed in shame and leaving the game early. Carlton has become the butt of jokes, a cautionary tale of how mismanagement, complacency and lack of a vision can dismantle a dynasty. A club that is more worried about taking up stands for certain causes rather than worrying about winning games of football and premierships. I'm tired of excuses. I'm tired of false dawns. I'm tired of being tired of being told to wait around for a rebuild that never arrives and stick fat. Carlton is not just underperforming. It is embarrassing. If this club were a public company, shareholders would have long since demanded the head of the board and even liquidation, so dire is the state of affairs. I cannot ignore the truth. Carlton is no longer a contender, but a laughing stock of the AFL. The proud navy blue jumper has been tarnished, not by the sweat of hard-fought victories, but by the stain of repeated failure. I see supporters who once filled the stands with passion, now watch with frustration, wondering how a club with such history and resources can allow itself to drift into irrelevance. The fall from grace is not just disappointing, it is humiliating. And yet, disappointment carries with it a challenge. Carlton must decide whether it continues down this path of insignificance or whether it rises again. Does it have the fortitude to even do so? I don't think so. The time for excuses is over. The time for harsh measures is gone. If Carlton wishes to reclaim its rightful place as a powerhouse of the AFL, it must rediscover its identity, know what it stands for, rebuild its culture, and reignite the fire that once made it a great feared entity. Until this time, we remain witness to a tragedy, the slow, painful unravelling of a giant that forgot how to stand tall. Let me be clear, this is not a eulogy. It is a call to arms. The fans will not stand by any longer. Carlton, the time to fight back is now. So I say this to the board, the coaches, the managers, and the players. Either draw in the line in the stand and fight, or step aside and let those who care about making Carlton the monolith it deserves to be take the reins and fight. That's how I feel. And I'm not going to say anything about the game.
Did you write that or
brilliant, Joe.
GPT?
Sorry?
Did you write that or ChatGPT to write that?
No, I wrote it.
Love it.
I'm a bit of a good writer, Seb. That's about my only. That's about
You
the
should
only thing
start
I'm good
writing.
at.
You should start writing books.
It's about the only thing I'm
no,
good
Sebba,
doing in life.
Chat GPT goes to Joe to get all of its stuff done.
ChatGPT is full of rubbish.
I love it. I love it. Well said, Joe.
Well
Anyway.
said, Joe.
Anyway, we did have a game apparently yesterday. So Vince, over to you.
Yes.
Whoops, sorry. How come that's come up? There you
What's the
go.
matter? That's all right.
There you go.
Okay. Well, Carlton, home game for us. So 11-11-77.
Lord Nelson.
Defeated by Melbourne 15-10-100, and they raised the bat just before the end of the game, getting to the century. So major goal kickers for Carlton were McGovern with 3 and Elijah Hollins with 2. Melbourne had Bailey Frisch with 4. Langford and Chandler both kicked 2 each. They were the main goal kickers for each side. And disposal winners for Carlton, Walsh with 31, Jagger Smith with 25, Elijah Hollins also 25. For Melbourne.
Stats, Vince?
Sorry,
I thought you were talking through some stats.
No, just going through major disposals.
Okay.
And for Melbourne, I just was looking at that before you took it off.
There you go. Cozzy Pickett, 23.
Cozzy Pickett got
29.
31. Who were the other two? I missed it because you took them off.
Sparrow
got 29,
29,
and Windsor got
Caleb
24.
Windsor.
Yeah, you can see there that the quarter-by-quarter scores are the most interesting thing to look at Carlton games these days. We got off to a great start with 6 goals, 2 to only a point in the first quarter. But then you could just sense that Melbourne were getting themselves back into the game, even though they couldn't put it on the scoreboard in the second quarter. They probably should have outscored us by about 3 or 4 goals. In the end, they only scored 1 goal 5 to our 1 goal 2. So we went into halftime with a 34-point lead. Then that was whittled down to only 2 goals at 3-quarter time, with Melbourne kicking 6 goals 2 to our 2 goals 4 in the third quarter. And then in the last quarter, they ran rampant, 8 goals 2. In the last quarter to our 2 goals 3. And in the end, they were comfortable victors, 23 points.
Okay. You want some stats?
Yep, let's put some stats up.
Go.
Okay. Well, the main stat differences there, I mean, they were all very similar, really, but the ones that really stood out for me were the inside 50s. Melbourne had 64 to 51. We had more rebound 50s, probably because the ball ended up spending a hell of a lot of time in our back line and their forward line, especially in the second half. Contested possessions were pretty similar. They ended up matching us and even beating us in that area, even though we were winning it clearly at quarter time. That's where they ended up getting the match back on their terms. They started winning the contested ball and the clearances. But the big one is tackles, 80-55. And they just wore us down with pressure, just like Richmond did and just like the Sydney Swans did. So they were good enough to put it on the scoreboard in the second half by kicking straight. Despite kicking 1 goal 6 for a half in the first half, they kicked 14 goals 4 to only 4 goals 7 from Carlton in the second half. So there you go. Interesting that Carlton had 11 scoring shots in both halves. We kicked 7 goals 4 in the first half, and it was the other way around in the second, 4 goals 7. So they're the main statistics. And after having a 43-point lead at an early stage of the second quarter, it wasn't enough. Melbourne overhauled us, and it was one of the biggest comebacks in their history. I think it was it the fourth or fifth highest?
Fourth, I think.
I think it's
fourth or fifth biggest comeback in their history. So, not a good result for us. And I noticed that as soon as Cozzy Pickett kicked that goal to put him in front, it was almost like the parting of the Red Sea. All of the Carlton supporters started to... It was amazing how many Carlton supporters got up off their chairs and went home. They literally went for the aisles, and there was still plenty of time left in the game. But they just must have known and must have sensed that that's it, game over, we're done. And they were right, because Melbourne scored another 3 goals to nothing with whatever time remained on the clock till the end of the game.
Oh, Vince, they see it every week, the same movie. So,
Yeah, exactly right. You can't blame them.
I was sitting with a bloke, Straubs O'Dwyer. Remember him?
I remember him, Stephen O'Dwyer, back in the late 80s. He was a ruckman for Melbourne when they played in the grand final of 88.
Yeah, that's right. He got rubbed out for that grand final. Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, he didn't play in it. But
I thought he played in it. Okay.
No, he didn't play in it. But they might have lost by 80 points instead of 100 if he had played.
I think they lost by 96 points that game
against
Hawthorn. But anyway, they were never going to win it.
Even half time, and he was shaking his head, and he was with his daughter. I was with my daughter Dakota, and I said, "Mate, we don't give up. You're a chance. You're in this game." It turned in that second half of the second quarter. While you didn't put on the board, you had plenty of the ball. And I said to him, I said, "Mate, I see this movie every week. It's the same cast, same bloody action heroes, and the same." And that's what happens. It's bloody. It's almost embarrassing. Well, it is embarrassing, really.
It is embarrassing.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I will be voting with my feet for the rest of this year. I'll go to matches which I have to go because we do some corporate functions with But I won't be going of my own accord to watch that crap, and unless they can turn it around. No, I'm not going. I'm going to vote with my feet and bugger them. And I think
a lot of other Carlton supporters are going to be doing the same. I think our crowd numbers might suffer from now on because of all this. Because don't forget, with everything that's going on in the world at the moment, with the cost of travel and the cost of living. A lot of people will be saying, you know what, I can save myself $50 today or $100 without having to take the kids, and they'll save themselves the money, and at best they might watch it on TV.
Sit at home, have some popcorn, watch the first half and turn it off.
Yeah, and then you can watch maths or something else. I don't know.
Jesus Christ, I don't know what's worse.
Can I ask you quickly, Rhys, at what point did you detect that things were turning? Because even before halftime, I detected that Melbourne was starting to get the game on their terms. A bit like last week, the last game we played, which was 17 days earlier, against Richmond.
Yeah,
you could tell.
Quarter, I knew we were in trouble, and we stopped playing attacking football. We stop attacking, and we go into a negative mindset, and this is why it's it's above the shoulders. They show they can go out there and kick goals and do good, hold the opposition to a low score, but they just can't do it for long enough, and that's because they're not mentally tough enough. And it's well, I said it before. It's embarrassing, really. It's embarrassing to watch. It must be embarrassing for them to be part of. And if they don't feel embarrassed, and look, to be perfectly honest, if Fossey didn't give them the biggest spray of all time last night, then give up, because I don't care if you're not allowed to yell at people these days. I would have screamed my lungs out. I would have pointed players out. I'd grab some vision of it this week. I'd show some weak efforts and point them out and show them what they, the insipid passages of play and mistakes that just cost us goals. Just very, very poor and very, very weak. And once again, when you're looking around and you're going, where are our leaders? Well, they're not part of it. Our leaders go missing. When it gets tough, our leaders go missing. And that's when, the good players step up. You see Cozzy Pickett, you see Maxi Gawn. Maxi Gawn, I thought, was fantastic, especially from about halfway through that second quarter. He started dominating the ruck and, putting his big body in the way a lot and doing a lot of grunt work. And that's what the good players do. You watch Carlton, you'll see they're in trouble. Dacos, you watch the Gold Coast and Petrarca will be doing something, or they Cozzy Pickett. They step up. They step up when things are tough. And,
what have all those guys got in common? Dawn, Pickett, Bailey Fritsch, of course, kicked another 4 goals.
They're all premiership champions.
Yeah,
and we
they're
got
all premiership players.
We got bums.
They are, and they've lost the guts of it. Blokes like Petrarca and Oliver and Stephen May, they've lost some big names. And
Viney's out injured too at the moment.
Yeah. But the one thing about it, we don't have a player. We don't have a player who will stand up and win a game. Who's the bloke who want to get the ball in their hands, and that was Pickett. You could see it. They wanted the ball in Pickett's hands, and they just kept giving it to him. And why wouldn't you? No one playing on him, so that's how it put it these days. So you suffer the results. We Gordon did it in the first match. Terrible. And
the thing I noticed about Melbourne too, Rhys, is that, and Cozzy was, one of these players, I guess, that was just as guilty of it. Sometimes they did make mistakes with the ball. They'd sometimes turn it over, but they didn't let it bother them. They just kept going, and they kept going to the next contest and tackling like crazy. And
there's blokes out there who
wore us down.
They want the ball. They want to win the game for their team. And they'll do anything. They'll make mistakes. Of course, they're going to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but they'll go again and again and again and again because they want to win. They're winners. Yeah. They're born winners. Yep. Our blokes, as you said before, you look at the stats and they pick up their 30 possessions, but they don't hurt the opposition. They don't. No. They don't punish the opposition. Like, haven't got the pace. Haven't got the game's got quicker. And our blokes are getting slower.
Correct.
And that's really what you look at as well. We're slow. We're a very slow team. You can't play George Hewitt and Cripper in the middle together anymore. You just can't do it because neither of them have got leg speed. And Walshy goes in there as well. And you haven't got that real leg speed to get out and break the line. So, we're in a dire situation. And look, we lost, obviously Charlie Curnow and De Conning are very, very, very good players. Jack Silvani, serviceable, and he gives an honest effort and has done for a long while. I heard him calling him a star, former Carlton star, Jack Silvani, and I'm going, isn't it?
The word star's often misused these days.
Footballer
just like the word champion and legend. There's another two words that are overused like crazy.
We have no champions and we have no legends. Simple as that.
you sort of think about it. And look, you know, he would have been great out there, you know, because at least he would have had to go till the end. But we're struggling at the moment. We're struggling big time. And
but how did you feel? How did you feel at quarter time? 6 goals, 38 to a point. Now, did you feel like, hang on, I'm not getting ahead of myself here, or did you honestly think after witnessing that quarter, we're on here today, we're looking real good, and they look like a side that's just completely shot to pieces?
So did Richmond. So did Sydney. The first quarters. So same game, same movie. Keep watching the movie over and over.
So what changes? So what can you detect that changes?
You know what happens? Nothing changes. Nothing changes. We keep doing the same thing over and over. We're a predictable team. We kick long down the lines. We stop taking risks. We stop running with the ball.
So what? Once we get to a 5, 6, 7 goal lead, all of a sudden we just go into our shells. Is that the problem? Tough.
We're not mentally tough above the shoulders. We are a weak team. It really is.
Are you surprised, David?
Even Harry Mackay looked good in the first quarter, but then in the next 3 quarters, he looked like he couldn't catch anything, couldn't catch a cold.
Well, you know, I'd be showing Harry Rowley Tilthorpe bloody videos. So this is how you play footy. This is what you do. This is what big blokes do. If you want to make a statement out, you want to be a quality A grade big man, big forward. This is how you play footy, and watch that kid. He bowls them over. He runs hard at the ball. He wants the ball. You know, I don't think sometimes Harry really wants the ball enough. He goes harder, and he leads when he's up on the wing. He leads and goes up and grabs the ball in one grab. You watch him in the forward line; he doesn't move. He puts one hand in the air and stands there. He doesn't lead.
Kick it to me. Yeah.
He doesn't move. You know, I mean, it's so easy for the opposition. I don't know, you know, how their forward line coach hasn't been, you know, sacked for the, you know, I mean, or whoever we've had the forward line coach. I mean, turn them over, get rid of them, because we've got no movement down there. We're the most predictable, and we were even when we had Charlie in there. And I've been saying it for years. We just bomb the ball in long, and we make it so easy for the opposition. I mean, Jake Lever had a field day, you know.
Yeah, we played him into form.
He's been out of form. He's really struggled, and I think, you know, the pace of the game's probably caught up with him. But we played old style football.
We played him back into form.
We played the style of football that he wants. You know, and
kick it in long.
Exactly. So he had a ball, because the modern football's killing him, but the Carlton football right up his alley. So, you know,
he thrashed Brodie Kemp. Absolutely thrashed him.
Yeah,
Brodie Kemp shouldn't be
Brodie Kemp, he's not a fucking forward. Sorry, David, but
he's not a key forward.
Exactly, he's not a forward.
Make him, and you know, I mean, you what's the old saying? You can't make plum pudding out of a shit sandwich, or whatever.
David, it's square pegs, round holes.
Look, I see these players getting criticised. Lewis Young gets criticised consistently in the crowd. You know, Brodie Kemp does, but they're not bloody key forwards. And Lewis Young, to his credit, they throw him in the back line. They throw him on, you know, Lynch last week. They play him on. He's going to give you what he's got. He's going to give, probably not good enough, but
he is what he is. But, you know, it's not his fault.
And Brodie Kemp, you know, he's not a key forwards bootlace. So, you know, to try and play him down there, and if you are going to play him down there, don't play him as a Charlie Kerner, because he's not. You can't. You've got to do something different. To be perfectly honest, I'd be playing Cripper probably midfield for a quarter and a bit, and then I'd play him forward for the rest, and just say to him, "You're playing forward of centre, and that's what anywhere, go anywhere." but you're in the forward line, but you're playing forward to centre, and you can go anywhere in there and create some havoc in there because I think I think Cripper's days.
It's gone past him. It's gone past him. As simple as
Well,
that. Just say it, David. It's gone past him.
The
Unfortunately,
the game has got quicker, and that's what the
can't
AFL
keep
wants.
up.
And it's going to kill some players. It really is going to kill some players, and
it's a bit like some of the ruck rules. That's going to probably destroy a few ruckmen's careers.
Yeah, well, it will. It will too. The lumbering
Hudson
top.
O'Keefe was another option up forward, and also as a secondary
why are
ruck,
they
but he
playing
looks
him?
like he's totally
He's not
out
ready.
Of, a fish out of
He's
water.
not ready.
Is
He's
if
not
you
ready.
if you are going to play him, put him in the square.
Mm.
Him coming from the square deep in the forward line, and all we got to say to him is, come out. We're going to kick the ball in up and out in front of you. We'll run and jump at it. He could be an answer there, but they don't do it. They don't do it.
Well, funnily enough, I thought two of our better players yesterday were players that were delisted by the club at the end of last year.
McGovern,
Elijah Hollins and
Yep.
Mitch McGovern. I mean, Mitch McGovern's probably been our not that he's been outstanding, but he's probably been our best forward over the first three matches. At least he gives you a bit of a target and he's kicking 2 or 3 goals a game. And I think Elijah probably had his best game for a long time yesterday.
Yeah, he's a talented kid. He's he's a low draft pick. He's a talented kid. He's had his problems, but you start to worry now about him because you think, well, he's had a good game. He might think he's made it again, and
No, look, he wasn't blitzing the game like Cozzy Pickett was or Max Gawn, but he was probably at least could keep his head up.
At times.
Sorry,
he showed his quality at times.
Yeah,
but we've got to inject some pace into the team, and we can't. Cottrell probably. He's got a bit of pace and he can run all day. So hopefully we get him back sooner rather than later because we don't have any leg speed, and we've got to go to some kids now. We've really got to go to some kids. The young kid Byrne, he comes in and he offered a bit of excitement, and he tried hard, mothered a couple, and did a few good things, and
kicked his first goal.
Persist with them, because we got to put games into kids, and we're going to come to a realization. Well, hang on a minute, we're not a finals bound team. Do we keep playing these spuds week in, week out, and keep giving them games, or do we try all these kids? Try the Camprioli boys. They apparently can run and whatever, and find some players. You might just find one. A couple of years back, we were forced to play. I think it was Cooper Lord.
Yeah. Ashton Moyer,
and there was one other in the game, and they all give a bit, against West Coast over in Perth, and they all showed a bit, and
against West Coast, David. Unfortunately,
we've got to look to the future rather than. I don't care about wins and losses from now on. I want effort. I want effort from now on. I'd rather go. I'd rather go down fighting.
Liam.
Give up like insipid bloody, wimps, and what we are.
Any money they'll bring in Blake Acres this week. Money.
If I see Blake Acres enter another AFL football field, I'll walk out. He looks like shit. He is shit.
He played the VFL yesterday.
He was garbage. He was
garbage.
Absolutely dog shit. I watched him. He was garbage. If he sees another AFL field, I'll lose it. He's no good. He should not be playing. If you're going to put someone in, put one of the Campo boys in on the wing. Simple as that. Do not play Blake Acres. Do not play Adam Starr. Don't play these players. They're past it. I watched the whole VFL game. These AFL listed players, the senior AFL listed players, they're no good. They're finished. They're past it. See you later. Goodbye. Rip up their contracts now. Seriously.
Well, Lakers have still got another 2 years.
Because we're going to get fucking nowhere. Pardon my French. We're going to get nowhere. And, well, we already are nowhere, so that it doesn't really matter, does it, anymore? But we're going to get nowhere playing a dead Adam Sard and a dead Blake Acres.
Oh, look, put it this way: if they play well enough and earn their spots, then whack them in there. But if they're not playing, if they can't get a kick in the Magoos and they're running around there, then I'd rather see, as Seb said, I'd rather see kids in there and let's start having a look at these kids. You never know. You never know. And you know, I'd rather see Ashton Moyer playing than you know, some of the blokes who are in there. But you know, then you know, I mean, I'll look at some of the players who have come across and you know,
well, to be honest, I think some of those have almost gone into their shells in the first 3 weeks because there was a lot expected of Hayward, for example. I don't think he had a very good game yesterday.
Did you?
Ainsworth popped up for an exciting couple of minutes in the third quarter, but didn't do much else.
I'd hate to be playing in that forward line.
And Ollie Florent, I mean, he gets the ball a lot, and he certainly gets a lot of meters gained, but he turns it over a lot too. He's
you know, that
disposal efficiency is not flash.
That was why he didn't play much last year, and that was the knock on him. You know, turnover, and that is the situation we're in. We don't recruit blokes who are good kicks. Like, you know, I mean, we don't have blokes who hit targets consistently, and it becomes infectious. It becomes infectious, and you know, I mean, I watched the Essendon North Melbourne game on Saturday night, and you know, what football I've ever seen.
I watched it too. There was turnovers all over the place.
I mean, there was one passage of play where the Essendon bloke kicked it to the North bloke, who kicked it to the Essendon bloke, who kicked it to the North bloke, and I'm looking at it going.
But we had passages of play with Melbourne, the same sort of thing yesterday. Really, there was. We were saying where I was sitting, someone said, "Where's the Benny Hill music?" I mean, it was just ridiculous a couple of times with the amount of turnovers that were going on.
Well, there was, you know, there was something. You know, I think there was some video of the pre-season, which was poo-hard by the, you know, but
yeah,
you know, blokes.
Yeah, the solution to that was don't let the cameras in to take any videos of us.
Yeah.
So, rather than hey, that's pretty damning evidence. We better get better at kicking the ball.
Exactly, and you know, it's like putting in golf. You know, you got to be committed. You got to be
practice it.
Hit the target. You know, and
the
blokes can kick. They're not committed. They're scared, and they're scared they're going to, instead of saying I'm going to take this on, I'm going to hit that bloke over there. I'm going to, you know, break it open. And you know, once again, when it gets tough, you know, as I said before, we got players who don't want the ball in their hands because they're scared of making a mistake.
They're all you know why, David? Because they're all fucking mentally weak. Simple as that.
Well, that's it.
They're all mentally weak, and that's the bottom line. It's as simple as that. They're all mentally weak. There was not one player out there other than, Jesus Christ, Taylor Byrne and Harry Dean, who put their bodies on the line for the team that could hold their head up when they come off that ground. Maybe Elijah Hollands, because the rest of them were they were fucking passengers. The lot of them. And the fact that our leaders, Patrick Cripps, I'm singling him out this week because he was fucking diabolical. When you needed him, when you needed Patrick Cripps, where was he? He was left with his finger in his ass the whole fucking day, left with his finger in his ass. He did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Where was Sam Walsh? 31 disposals, the most hollow 31 disposals of all time. The most hollow. George Hewitt had 18 touches for 30-something meters gained. Like, are you serious? Like, we're sitting here in the second half. I'm looking at Mars. I'm like, why the fuck is Jagger Smith being rolled off the half forward? Put him in the middle. Take George Hewitt out of the midfield. He is going nowhere. Take him out of the midfield. Put Ben Ainsworth in there. Put fucking Elijah Hollands in there. Change something. Do something, Michael Voss. Do something. because we know you can't coach. At least go out fighting. But no, Michael Voss, what does he do? He sits there in his cuck chair and watch us get banged with a 70-point turnaround. Simple as that. Fucking sack the prick now. Simple as that. He's tactically inept. Simple. Sack him.
How do you
And who do
respond
you
to that,
replace
Rhys?
him with?
Anyone, a new coach, sack him, Joe. Go and put a caretaker in. I want a fresh coach at the end of the year. That's what I want. And if someone's going to say, oh, but what is your case to sacking Michael Voss? He should have been sacked 2 years ago when we were 60 and zipped down. He can't coach. He's destroyed another list. He destroyed one at Brisbane. He's destroyed one here. It's common knowledge that he's fallen out with multiple players. Is it not? It is. Get rid of him.
They're gone.
You can't get rid of 25, 40 players. You can't.
No.
So the buck stops with him. He's the first domino to fall. As simple as that. Michael Voss will be the first domino to fall.
There's only one left who was who had the knives out for him, and he's a bloke who we were talking about early on. But
there's other players there. Trust me.
There's no. I'll guarantee you that the main state. Well, I don't know how the young blokes are, but they're from that core senior group. They're all right behind him. They're all right behind him.
Did they play like they're right behind him, David?
Yeah, but they're weak individuals.
I understand that, but do they play like they're right behind him? This is what take your obviously you have the insider or whatever, which I'm not asking you to divulge, but you take that away, you sit in my position. Do they look like they're playing for the coach?
I understand it, mate. I can understand it. And that's what I said. It was embarrassing that they were insipid. They're weak. They're weak-minded. They've got no intestinal fortitude. They've got no heart. You know, but they're lovely blokes. And I'm sure
they are.
A couple of years, the worst thing about our team is they're all nice blokes. There's no one with any in them. And I've been saying that, you know, and you've got to have blokes who've got a bit of hunger and a bit of desire, and just blokes who want to have a crack and get out there and you know, I mean, young Harry Dean's sort of doing a little bit of that. I'm probably overdoing it a little bit at the moment, but he's got to just
show something
on the ball and you know, worry about that first and get his timing right and a few other things before he. But you know, you love the way at least he's having a bit of a crack. You know, he's not taking a backward step, but we got too many who just sit back. I mean, they don't put. You look at that tackling, you know, stat before. Terrible.
It was
Absolutely terrible.
I've got it here. Sorry, 82 tackles Melbourne to 54 tackles Carlton.
But who didn't have tackles? Have you got the individuals?
I'll get them up. I'll get them up now for you.
I mean,
I'll tell you one bloke who had 16 tackles. His name was Jack Steele. There's a recruit for you.
So I'll give you the ones that had donuts for tackles: Lewis Young, Mark Pitney, Hudson O'Keefe, Elijah Hollins, and Lockie Cowan. There's a few on two: Zach Williams, McGovern, Kemp, Ollie Hollins, Haywood, Dean, and Byrne all had two each, and a few had one tackle each.
Yep.
So, David, I remember a few years ago there was some footage of a Carlton player being hit behind play, standing right next to Harry McKay, and he did nothing. So you're telling me in a couple of years that guy hasn't learned to stand up. He's supposed to be a senior player. If someone had to knock one of your players out next to you, what would you have done?
Well, it depends how close I was to it. But
sorry, if you were on the field, you probably would have sprinted.
No, look, you are. Look, I know I probably went a bit overboard, but you fly the flag for your mates, and the whole thing is it's not an individual game; it is a team game. You know, I mean, inside that team, you express your own individual and play the way you play inside that, but your number one thinking is, you know, whether it's going for a hard ball and you got, you know, you're going to get crunched or whatever. It's your turn to go. That's your turn to go and show your teammates. It's my turn to go. I know when it's your turn, you'll go, and we don't have that. We sort of, I don't know. We're just we're a team who's playing with. I mean, they talk about system. Get rid of the system. The system's not working. So change the system. Do something different. Let them play football. I don't know what it is, but just we've got to try something, and we've got to start playing some kids. I mean, we've had a bit of talent, as I said before. Go out of our side this year, and we didn't play finals last year. So you've got to take that into account in realistically where we stand. Well, what we want to see now is what the future is. And what I want to see anyway, I want to see what the future is, because I want to see that our recruiting people have picked up, some good kids who are in there. Where are they?
The other thing, Rhys,
The future doesn't look that bright, to be honest.
we're actually, unlike most other seasons, our injury list is almost non-existent now. I mean, there's a lot of players who have come back now. And, I mean, the only long-term ones are Jesse Motlop and Harry O'Farrell out for the whole year. But other than them, by the time we head off to Adelaide and gather round, subject to not getting any injuries next week, we've pretty much got a full list to choose from. And I don't see anyone coming in that's going to make a massive amount of difference. Do you? I mean, do you think Adam Cherry is going to make a huge difference? Do you think Adam Sard's going to make much difference?
Adam Cherry, bro.
But you've got to put in kids. Where's the next? You got to be looking ahead and thinking, well, kiss this year goodbye. Let's put some kids in there who are going to have a crack. And if they're not going to have tip them out by all means. But let them know this is your chance. This is your chance to prove yourself. We're going to give you games, put you in there. We're not going to drop you for a few weeks, and you've got an opportunity to go out there and show us, and hopefully we can put some speed in. We can put some excitement into the team. And they can play like that. I mean,
there was a Carlton midfielder who won his first best and fairest last year, who had a total metres gained of 37 metres.
Yeah.
Even though he got 18 possessions, 9 kicks and 9 hand passes, George Hewitt only managed to get the ball forward 37 metres for the entire game.
He's the worst Carlton best and fairest.
What's going on with him? What do you see is going on wrong with George?
He's a victim of these new rules too. The game quickening up. See, George isn't quick.
He was on Cozzy Pickett in the second half, and he got absolutely destroyed.
Why would you put him on Cozzy Pickett?
Well, he got destroyed.
Why would you put him on him?
Well, you know who was on Cozzy Pickett in the first half? Lockie Cowan.
Well, why did he stay on him?
Yeah, in the forward pocket.
Doesn't matter.
Well, why didn't he stay on him?
Even if he went into the middle, and this is what I was talking about.
As soon as they put him in the middle, they put George Hewitt on him instead of Lockie Cowan, who stayed in the back line.
You look at football these days, and it really amazes me because they let the opposition, good players, best players in the opposition, they'll let them run around, and of course they'll let our blokes run around because they don't hurt you. So let them loose. Walsh can have his 30-odd possession because he doesn't hurt you. Cripps doesn't hurt you with the ball.
And Jagger's going down the same path, I reckon.
No, well, he shows a bit more and he hits targets. So but it's going to be tough for him because he's shooting an armchair right off these blokes. He shouldn't be the target of the opposition, but he will be. He'll be the target.
We're asking a lot of these kids when they first started. I remember when Sam Walsh started, we were expecting a hell of a lot from him.
Worried about Walsh getting the ball. They're not going to be worried about Cripps getting the ball. They're going to be worried about Jagger Smith getting the ball. So they're going to make life hard for him where he should be getting it a lot easier. He should be picking up the third or fourth best midfielder or whatever, and he's a better run. But he's going to have to do it a bit tougher, which, is we'll see how he goes with that. But, if you were targeting someone in the Carlton Football Club in that midfield, and so we need to, I'll be targeting Jagger Smith. I wouldn't be worried about the other blokes. But you can't play George Hewitt and Cripper in the same midfield. You just can't do it.
True.
And
David,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, I want to ask you a question about our young players and their development, right? The whole idea is that each year they're meant to get better.
Yep.
Is that true? So let's take some players who have been there for probably 2, 3, 4 years. Has Ollie Hollands gotten any better?
No,
Moya?
probably not.
Motlop? Look, he's out injured, but I'm just
he's blown his knee out. He's you can't even put it in. He's blown his knee
no. But
out.
even last year, do you reckon he got better?
I understand, but he's blown his knee out. You can't even rate him at
No,
this
but I'm
point.
talking about our development, Sebba. You went.
But then again, sorry to cut you all off, but then again, here's the issue. Again, it's fucking square pegs, round fucking holes. Square pegs, round holes. Why is Ollie Hollands being played at a fucking halfback? Tell me. I just want to know. Humor me. Where was he drafted? Just anyone tell me. Where was he drafted?
He was drafted on the wing.
Thank you very much. And when you draft a player in their desired position, where do you play them?
Full back.
He played his first full season on the wing.
Thank you very much. I rest my case.
Well, exactly. And the other side, where did he play as a kid though? Because he was a high draft pick. What number was he? 4 or 5 or something?
No, I think he was like 14. He was around 14.
Yeah. His brother was number 7, David. Elijah Hollands was the number 7
and
draft
mind you,
pick.
he was probably one of our better players. He was probably one of our better players yesterday. And for everyone that says, "Oh, stop defending him. Stop doing this." Shut up. Shut up.
Defending who?
How about you all stop defending our fucking weak leaders? Our fucking weak leaders. That's who you should stop defending. And people that are jumping on Hudson O'Keefe's case, shut up.
Yeah.
But he's not ready. And Voss has thrown him to the wolves against the top 5 ruckman of all time. Please.
Ollie
Arguably the
Hollands
best
was number
ruckman of all
11,
time.
David. Draft pick
man.
number 11 in the 2022 draft.
Come on.
Ollie.
Man.
Yeah.
Ollie Hollands,
But my point, Sebba, is that players seem to get better. Ours don't.
He would have been picked up as a midfielder, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, let's put him in the back line. Why not? Let's waste him.
put him in there. At least he's got leg speed.
I know.
Put him in there. Give him a go.
Mm.
You know, why
Yeah,
not?
how many, David, I would like to ask you a question. How many players have developed after under Michael Voss? This is what I want to know.
That's what I was getting at. None.
Actually, I'll go back over Carlton for a long period of time before Voss. And our development of that club has been atrocious. I've brought it up time and time again. Our young players don't seem to get any better. You know, people
point exactly.
Yeah. People talk about playing, you know, it's hard to play at Carlton. I think Charlie was relieved to, you know, leave Carlton because of the pressure of playing in a big club and, you know, Carlton not travelling well and all that sort of. That should be a challenge for you. It should be inspiring.
Exactly.
Want to be. You know, the next group of players who take us to the top, they're going to be immortalised. You know, I mean, they are going to be immortalised because there's a whole generation and a half that haven't
Two
seen
generations.
You know, anything. So, you know, I mean, it's you know, it'll be inspiring to be. You want to be part of that next. It's funny. Harry O'Farrell was in the Carltonians room on Sunday, and mentioned something about, you know, the next premiership side, and I thought, well, it's good he's saying that, but I don't think he should be saying it here because fucking miles away from.
Yeah, but you know what? I like that he thinks like that.
Yeah,
I like that he thinks like that because you know what? It shows that he just hasn't been poisoned, and he hasn't. You know what it's like? I don't know if you've ever watched Harry Potter when Dumbledore and Harry Potter, they're in that cave and he's drinking the poison water from trying to get the Horcrux. They haven't been poisoned just yet. Just yet. That's what happened.
Give him time. Give him time, Sebba.
But they're all slowly drinking from the fucking poison chalice, headed by that prick Michael Voss.
It's also a thing called getting ahead of yourself too, and we are light years away from a premiership.
Of course we are. We're 10 years away.
And even with the good young kids, you know, we have got coming through, and I mentioned Cody Walker and Deanie's kid and Harry O'Farrell and so on. You know, we've got some good kids, but where's our spine? Where's our spine? Where's our key forwards? Where's our young up and coming? You know, we haven't got any. We're going to have to get out there and spend a lot of money on a few players, because we're going to have to buy our way out, because you know, our recruiting has been poor for a long time.
And you know what makes things worse? Our VFL team is really quite abysmal, and there's no one really putting much pressure on positions. Even, you know, at the start of this year, we actually thought there would be some pressure on positions, but already in 3 rounds, we can't see too many people putting their hand up. So that's going to give a lot of players who are not performing in the seniors, you know, it's going to give them multiple games again, because Michael Voss refuses to drop anyone of any note. I mean, the most high-profile player that I think he's dropped in 5 years was Blake Acres last year. That's it.
Blake Acres.
I mean, but that's what I mean. He's not even what you'd call major high-profile, but other than him, he's only ever dropped, you know, the fringe players, the ones, you know, the young kids that come in and come out. He's never really dropped a big name. He's never dropped a Harry Mackay. He's never dropped anyone that has a reputation or is meant to have a reputation, or a big name player.
But
coach.
Oh, the only other one, sorry, I should say, is Mitch McGovern, but that's because they didn't want him to get to his trigger for a new contract, and in the end they recontracted him. So I don't know what that was.
Now he's your best forward.
All about.
Now Mitch McGovern, the unwanted commodity, is your best forward. Well done. That's the Carlton.
And Elijah Hollands, your other unwanted commodity, he's your best bloody half forward.
Well, the one thing about Mitch McGovern, he's on a 1-year contract, so I can tell you,
playing for his career.
Players in their last year of contract or on a 1-year contract.
Play their heart out.
I mean, you look at the other blokes; they're all pretty comfortable. They got long-term contracts there, so a lot of pretty comfortable. And you look at Elijah Hollands, Mitch McGovern, the guys who have got the 1-year contracts, and we'll see a bit of effort out of them, because that's how it goes, and you'll see it. It happens time and time again. You know, players.
Can I ask you about a player who's probably developing a little bit of cult hero status at Carlton, who came back into the side yesterday? I thought he got off to a great start, but then I don't know where Voss was playing him after that. And I'm speaking, of course, of Frankie Evans with his goggles on. What did you think of his game and how he was used by the coach?
Well, it wasn't much of a game. He put it this way.
Off quite well.
Down forward, and I think the thing that he's been one of those blokes who I reckon reads it pretty well for a small forward, if you know what I mean. He sort of, but every time there was a crumb, every time the ball was on the deck, we had no one there. But
did you see where he was played eventually?
Oh, he was that back.
In the back line.
Yeah, but
in the back line.
I don't mind eventually, because he's not doing anything down there. You might as well throw him back there. If they're not doing anything somewhere,
In that first quarter, he had some really good moments where he delivered the ball beautifully to someone else within the forward 50, and they went on to kick. I think he was the one that kicked it to Jagger, and I think he got the first goal. I could be mistaken there, but I mean, he did a couple of nice things, but then all of a sudden we see him in the back line. I mean, is that the place to be playing Frankie Evans?
Hey, Vince, they can sit there and watch that first quarter over and over and tell each other how good they are and everything.
Yeah.
Look at when it gets hard, though. Look at when it gets hard. That's when you got to look and see who wants to be out there, who wants to get the ball, who wants to play footy.
But did you feel like Voss was starting to make some moves out of sheer desperation? I mean, we've heard from Sebba about, square pegs in round holes. Well, Frankie Evans playing in defence is surely a square peg in a round hole in defence.
He's been doing that for ages.
He's never played in defence.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You gotta throw a challenge out. If a bloke's sitting around there not getting a sniff of the leather, throw him where the ball is, or try something, because it's better than doing nothing, leaving them down there doing nothing. So no, I haven't got any criticism of blokes getting moved around or whatever. And we were, I mean, it's just it's a team that's got no soul. It's a team that just has no. I don't know. They just haven't really got anything good about them. That binds them together and makes you want to be proud of them. If
You know what it is? You know what it is, David? It's a soulless club run by a bunch of soulless millionaires that just keep digging deeper and deeper in our fucking pockets and putting up our membership prices. That's what it is. It's a club run by soulless millionaires that project their bullshit agendas across the whole team and the whole club. And look where it's got us. It's got us 10 years behind the 8 ball again.
No, those blokes were there 40 years ago, and they're still there now, and there's others come in and whatever. But hey, I didn't see one of them drop an easy chest mark or whatever. I didn't see any of them miss a tackle or,
Doesn't matter. It starts from the top.
You're pushing a bit too far there because a lot of those people.
But am I pushing too far when they're pushing up our membership prices? When we're sitting here, people are struggling to pay for shit. And mind you, I'm not complaining. I'll pay it either way because I love the fucking club. I don't love the people that are in it, running it, or playing for it right now. But I love the club, right? And like everyone else in the chat. But for the fact of the matter is, the shit that they push out onto us and the sheer and utter they're just a disgrace to put our membership prices up, and they're first one on their burners calling you, "Oh, pay your membership. You're a membership payment late." Then you go shove it in your ass. I bet you pay a membership payment for me or give me a free member month, because you know what, the shit that I've had to put up with for 25 years, and mind you, however many years everyone else has been putting up with, it's abysmal. Yeah. And everyone's too scared to call it out.
I went to the Carltonians on the weekend, and there would have been 10, 11, 12 tables maybe. It was I was shocked. It was half the Harrison room on the first floor behind the goal.
It's a far cry from when I was running it. I can tell you that much. And you can vouch for that.
And we used to get more of the blues coterie who I was emceeing for them, and you start thinking, geez, that those sort of things have dwindled down. So obviously, something's not right there. I mean, not winning games doesn't help, and I can go that, but it's deteriorated a lot in that sense.
Can I ask you something, Rhys, about that? Do you think the decision by the club to leave Voss there for at least the last year of his contract could end up resulting in a fair bit of, a setback and damage to the fabric of this football team? I mean, if he can't get us out of the mire that we're in now, and he keeps losing games, and let's just say hypothetically we lose to North this week, and then we've got to play Adelaide and Collingwood. I can't see us beating either of them, and we go to 1-5 and 1-6, and it starts to become really ugly. I mean, was the decision to just change a few things around him, do you see that as being genuine, or do you think that is just papering over the cracks?
No, I think Graham Wright made the right decision. I think he made the right decision by keeping Voss, and it just would have been a joke. We would have become more of a joke if they had have sacked him, because it's just going nowhere. Putting Adam Simpson in the box, I think, creates a bit of heat, I suppose. I mean, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't, if I was Vossi, I wouldn't want a premiership coach sitting behind me, and you've got a successful general manager, watching every move, I suppose. So, if they need to, they've got the bloke there to make the move with straight away. Right. But so.
David, can I ask you a question?
Jesus Christ could bloody coach that team, though. I mean, David, it's who who could coach that team to win? To be honest,
David, could I ask you a question? We all know now that. Well, I think if you didn't know at the end of last season, then I think you were fucking oblivious, to be honest. And I don't know what you were watching, but don't you think it is? This is what I think. I think it's detrimental to not only the club but the development of our young players that we kept him on, because clearly he doesn't know how to develop young talent. It's as simple as that. He doesn't know how to develop them. But don't you think that he let's be real here. He loses the next 3 games, he's going to get sacked either way. Is he really going to last the season?
probably not the way it's going.
All right. Now this is what now I'm not having to dig at you or your point. I'm not having to dig at you or your point. It's your opinion. I respect your opinion, right? But don't you think it is detrimental and that we look like more of a fucking clown show? Part of my French again, chat and you guys, that we are now going to go through the season with a very, very, very high likelihood that he gets sacked before round 10, right? We're going to look like an even bigger clown show as if we didn't get rid of him at the end of the season last year, correct?
No, we won't. No, we won't because we stuck that and it hasn't worked.
Nah, right? I can't agree with that, David. I'm sorry, but I can't agree with that.
That's going to be. We've as I said, who's going to get anything more out of him? Who do you think? And where's it going to come from? Where is this this talent coming from that you think someone else can bring out?
So for instance, an Ollie Hollands is being destroyed, being played at halfback. You got Frankie Evans being thrown to the back line. You got Ashton Moyer sitting there rotting because he's not being developed. You got Hudson O'Keefe, who's being chucked to the wolves against, again, a top 5 ruckman of all time. You're destroying him. As a football player, you're destroying him.
Destroying him.
So you're not destroying him? So him having like one of the lowest rated games ever, you're not destroying the kid's confidence?
No. You got to show him what he's up. You got to show him what he's up against. God blimey. I mean, what do? You mother him all the way through and then pat their ass and
I understand that, but Jesus,
you got to throw him to the wolves, and you got to. He's a man. He's not a bloody kid. He is a big man and big solid man, and hopefully he learns a lot out of.
I'm sorry, but I still can't believe that you don't think that we're going to look like an absolute clown show if we sack him mid-season. For me, that's diabolical.
As soon as you sack a coach, it doesn't matter which team. I mean, if Essendon do it to Scott, they're going to be the laughing stock. We do it, we're the laughing stock.
Sorry, I'm going to point this out now. I don't care. I'm pointing it out. This exact comment here: stick fat and trust the process. Fat for 25 fucking years. How much more do we have to get? What goes through your brain to say that? We have been here. I've been here. I'm a 20-year member. I've been here. Vince has been here. Joe's been here. David's been here. Everyone in the chat's been here. We've been here. Wake up. We're going nowhere. We're 10 years behind the 8 ball now. With Tasmania coming in. Good luck. And you got this clown running the show, please. Vergonia. Makes me sick.
But once again, Seb, and
no, I'm sorry. It makes me sick.
I'd like you to be more critical of that playing group than you are of the coach.
I have been. I've been hammering him for the whole season.
I think you're wasting your time talking about the coach when the players. He's not dropping the ball.
Yeah, but you're not gonna. But the fact that the matter is, David. Sorry to cut you off again.
Pinpoint little things here and there. Frankie Evans played on the back line. Well, Jesus Christ, I've thrown blokes. When I coached at whatever level I did, and you do shit like that because you got to get them motivated, get them into the game somehow. So I think the players just get so much of an easy ride. They're all bloody squillionaires. They don't front up, like we used to into a social club afterwards. And
because you're all bitches, unlike what you guys were. That's what you guys were. You guys were actual football players. These guys are a bunch of bitches. Simple as that.
Well, it's the environment they're in, and whatever. But some hard truths need to be spoken, and hopefully they are being done behind closed doors, because if Vossi doesn't realise that, his job's, his career is on the line, then Jesus Christ, I hope he comes out like he was when he was playing football, and starts delivering a few messages to the playing group, and whether they like it or not, I'll tell you one thing, you'll find out who is behind you when and who wants to have a real dip, and the sooks can please themselves, and we've got plenty of them.
David, do you think the problem, whether Michael's the right person or not, I'm not going to say yes or no. Do you think the problem there is that he's coaching for his next week rather than the future of the club, like next month, next year, and that's why he does these silly moves that Sebba talks about? Do you think that that's probably detrimental to his game plan, that he just sticks? He's worried about his position. He's not worried about where the club's going to be at the end of the year, or.
No, I disagree with that. No, I disagree.
No, I'm just asking. I'm asking. Do you think that's what he does?
No, they look. They go in with their plans and whatever they have, and it's taking it week by week. They would have gone in there planning to beat Melbourne, and they come out running hot, but they had a weak lot of footballers out there who have very little spine, and that's what you get when the crunch come on. It's not Michael Voss who's got to stand up, and that's where these blokes, they get off scot-free all the time, and it's about time that people started talking about them instead of talking about Vossi all the time. And whether it's Brad Scott or Vossi or whoever, they're obviously not given the effort and put it. They showed what they can do in the first quarter.
Yeah,
they showed what they can do. So it's not as if they. It is just when things get tough. When things get tough, and the opposition start putting the screws, tightening the screws, and that's sometimes you just got to stick it out, and you really got to tough it out. And our blokes aren't prepared to do that. They're not prepared to tough it out. They're weak-minded, and they give up too easily. So they go back into their shells. The opposition get a full head of steam, and they run over the top of us. And that's basically what happens. And if you're a team playing against Carlton, you would, no matter what happens. No matter what happened in the second quarter, you would be saying we can win this. We can win this, and especially if you've got a couple of blokes who can win games. Cosy Pickett, Max Gorn, these sort of blokes who can come out and dominate and turn the whole game around.
I want to give you a quote. David, from Michael's press conference. His BAFTA Awards 7-minute 42 press conference with his stupid fucking smirk that he has every time. I'll give you a quote from him. Here we go. It says, all right, where is it? I've got it right here. All right. We have to own it. We have only heard that 55 million times. That's the first thing you have to do. I've taken the measure. Now let's look at this glass half full. What glass half full? How many leads are you going to drop to when the glass is empty?
Once again, we're going back to blaming the coach. We're blaming the coach and giving the players a free rein, which is, anyway.
But what do you make of that? What do you make of that when he's saying a glass half full?
We can sit here and shit can the coach all night, but he's not out there playing the game. Look, I didn't like all my coaches, and some you played in spite of. Wolsey for a while there. We had I wouldn't call it a love-hate relationship. I call it a hate-hate relationship. Sort of, he didn't like me too much and I didn't like him too much. But I think we had enough respect for each other. And
Well, you helped him become a premiership coach, and he put you in a position where you won a Norm Smith medal.
Yeah, but
So you weren't too bad for each other.
yeah, no, exactly. And but he knew, I mean, and he was vicious. I mean, he'd say scathing things and personal things, and you just had to take it on. And basically, it was F you. I'll show you.
He was a student of the Ron Barassi fire and brimstone method of trying to rouse up your players by insulting them.
Yeah, well, in some ways, but there was a fair bit of truth behind what
trying to get a reaction out of them. Yeah,
there was truth behind it in certain ways. So you had to cop it. You just had to cop it. I mean, if he's talking shit and saying you're doing, things you weren't doing or whatever, then it'd be different. But if you're not pulling the line or training as hard as you could be or doing this or doing that, I mean, getting on the drink.
Can I ask you a question, Rhys? Based on how Voss communicates in his press conferences, if that's the way the guy communicates to his own players behind closed doors, and that's an assumption I'm making, do you think that there's a chance that the playing group is just as baffled as most of us are? Because I don't know about you, but every time I listen to Voss talk at a press conference, I don't learn anything new. I don't come out with any renewed sense of clarity. There's no clarity about what the issues are, what the problems were during the game. Other coaches seem to articulate things very clearly and so that you walk away saying, okay, so that's what happened and that's why. But when Voss speaks at a press conference, he seems to talk in riddles, and I just wondered if that's the way he talks to his players. I wonder if any of them are just running around there like headless chooks without real direction.
That could be a deficiency in his coaching style or whatever. But I mean,
how do you find him when you listen to him speak? Would you be motivated to go out there and break down brick walls for him like you used to?
We're talking about a bloke who, you could talk the same thing about Brad Scott at the moment if you really wanted, because what's he coming out and saying? Alistair Clarkson, with North Melbourne, and I mean, there's I mean, when things
the thing is that guys like Voss and Brad Scott, when they play, they were just hard as nails, go at it. And I'm sure that they led very differently when they were players and inspired their fellow teammates when they were playing in a very different way to what they're doing now as coaches. I just wonder whether some sort of, I don't know, they become different people when they become a coach as opposed to when they were a player. And in Michael Voss's case, a triple premiership captain.
I reckon we've spent over half this show talking about Michael Voss.
Yeah. That's because he is the issue at the moment, whether we like it or not.
I reckon we should sack him tomorrow, get someone else in there.
We should too.
And you know what we're going to do? We're going to win every other game this year. We're going to win every single game this year.
Because the players will be allowed to free up and play like they did when David Teague took over from Brendan Bolton. Remember that half of the season?
They're going to turn into stars all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's not about them.
Because they'll be accountable because they can't blame the coach anymore, and they haven't got they can't hide behind the senior coach.
I think one of the things there is the thing you do hear back from the club is that the players are behind him. All right, the players are behind him. There's there was last year there was a cohort who were actively trying to knife him,
undermine him.
Yeah, all of them are gone besides one, and that
one is now just shutting up and not talking to anyone, is he?
That was more about what Sam Doherty got, barred from talking last week. That had more to do with it than what he said to silly bloody. The big loaf head. What's his name? I don't know his name. Anyway. Right.
Daniel Gorringe.
Gorringe, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that was a
goose that he is.
Making bloody venture, and good luck to him. But, but the, there would have been people in the club who would have just thought, Sam, you dickhead, why'd you say that? Because it just gives us every opportunity to, you're doing enough behind the scenes last year. You should have just shut up and you'd be welcome back into the club. And,
Okay, whether that's true or not, Rhys, you can't tell me that the way the club handled that situation from a PR perspective was wise. They turned a 1-day issue into a 7-day issue. They didn't have to respond at all to any of that.
Which situation?
Banning him from the function against Richmond. And that all just blew it up and all of a sudden something that should have been over and done within 24 hours because Sam Doherty made some comments. If they never responded at all, right, and not banned him from any functions, that would have been dead and buried in 24 hours. But they ended up making a 7-day extended issue out of it.
Vince, sorry, but it seems like a common occurrence that the club can't handle the heat. Sorry, David.
Well, they don't like to be criticised. They don't like to be criticised.
No. That was a bit more. There was a bit more behind it all than that. So, no, Vince, I'm telling you.
I hear that you're saying that there's more to it than what meets the eye and that Sam Doherty might have been undermining people last year and all that. But from a PR perspective, I thought that Graham Wright pulled the wrong rein there. And by banning him, I just think it sent all the wrong messages.
No, I totally disagree with you there. If the bloke's he's got a gripe, he's got an axe to grind or whatever, go and have a couple of years off, and then
Well, then why are they bringing him back for the Collingwood game? You tell me why. Why are they all of a sudden saying
cancer?
Come back for the Peter McCallum Foundation game against Collingwood? That's because it would look terrible if they didn't allow him at that one because the guy suffered from cancer.
Well, he's probably got a position with Peter McCallum.
He has. He's an ambassador for them.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So why Peter McCallum can do what they want? They can bring who they want. Carlton Football Club don't have to.
I just don't think it was a very wise decision from a PR point of view. I think it was terrible. But anyway.
Anyway,
we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, it's just like Sebba and David, just agree and disagree about the coach.
Sorry, but I'm just over it.
Talk about it because Michael Voss is the problem.
He's a big part of the problem.
I agree with you. He is not the only problem.
He's the only problem we got. We just sit back.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Just saying that. I'm not just saying that, David, but he's a big part of it.
Yep.
I personally believe. But that's my opinion. Again, that's my opinion. We agree to disagree.
Part of it.
Anyway, let's move on. Sebba, put up the votes. David?
Oh, geez, it was hard bloody doing votes. I must
tell you.
And you know what I did? I gave Jacob Wiedering 3 because I felt sorry for him. And I'm playing on the back line myself. I know what it's like when the floodgates open, and he led him back there, and that's about all I can say. Jagger Smith, I thought he looked our only dangerous player out there, and Elijah Holland's done some good things, and that's about it. I struggled to give votes, to be honest.
Sebba?
Elijah Hollands, I did want to mention him earlier, but we were in a great debate. But Elijah Hollands, I've been on his case since the first show of the year, and he showed me what he can do, and I knew he could do. He just needed to pull his finger out. Finished the game with 2 goals and 25 touches with 80% efficiency. Mitch McGovern, yes, he faded out, but he was our best forward on the day. Harry Mackay, where the fuck were you? And Taylor Byrne, I just loved his intent. When he had to go, he went, and I think he absolutely crunched Xavier Lindsay out on the non-broadcast wing, went straight through him. So I loved it. It could have been the number one, could have been Ollie. He played good, or it could have been Dean. But I love Taylor Byrne's intent at the ball. So the one for me was Taylor Byrne.
Okay, Big Vince.
Okay, I also went for Elijah Hollands, and I thought he was quite impressive for, I guess, the periods of play that we were playing well, especially because I don't think anyone could claim to have played 4 quarters. but he was certainly one of the standouts for us, I thought. Look, I gave Sam Walsh 2, purely because he gets a lot of it. He doesn't really hurt the opposition as much as I'd like him to with it. But you can't question his endeavour and his work rate. And I think he got 31 or 32 possessions and was a ball winner all day long. And I gave one to Mitch McGovern because, again, he was probably our best forward on the day. And, to kick 3 goals, you've done your job as a forward, I think, if you can kick 3. So, he might have got a bit lucky with 50-metre penalties and what have you. But nevertheless, he presented. And, in a day where it was really hard to pick players that were deserving of a vote, I ended up throwing him in for 1.
So I gave Sam Walsh 3 only because of his effort, and he gained more than 35 metres. Jagger Smith tried all day. I felt sorry for the poor kid. I'll talk about Jagger Smith in a minute. And I gave 1 to Hollands because I thought that he battled. He tried all day. He's probably short of a gallop coming back, but you couldn't question his intent.
Isn't it interesting? He's the only one that got votes from all 4 of us. All the other vote getters were different from one to the next.
Yeah, probably the reason why. Sebba, do you want to put up the leaderboard? So we've got Sam Walsh leading the pack from Jagger Smith, Mark Pitney, Elijah Hollands and Cooper Lord. The sad fact there is that a person who has played a total of 3 games for the Carlton Football Club is second. And what's that tell you about all our leaders? Anyway, let's move on. David, your Spirit of Carlton Award is...
Let him do the drum roll, work.
Hang on. From the leaderboard again.
No.
I think I give
That's it. It's up there.
Yeah, he showed a bit. And I mean, look, we recruited him as a centre-half forward and paid big bucks for him, and he ended up playing most of his career or his time on the back line he has. So, hopefully a guy who's on a 1-year contract can show us what he's worth and, stick around for a couple more. But
didn't this guy play in the forward line for Adelaide when we recruited him?
Yeah, that's why we recruited him.
Yeah, and he played up forward for the first 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 seasons for us.
He come along with Alex Fazzola and stuff like that when we picked that. It was that period, wasn't it?
Yeah. Alex Fazzola. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and Alex Silvani.
Anyway. And who?
Alex Silvani. All the Alexes.
He's from
He played one of the best games ever on Buddy Franklin. Remember, he kept him goalless or something.
Yes.
Anyway.
I'm sweating buckets here. My blood
Hey,
pressure
Joe,
through the roof.
Alex Silvani was the Silvani who played 7 games for Carlton and ended up in our leadership group before he decided to retire.
I think the other one, we really should be looking at who's the bloke who decided back in the day of big contracts to Zach Williams.
Oh, I know.
Jack Martin.
Oven. Yep. Who
well, it's our list managers. It's our list managers.
I think he's at St Kilda now, David.
Yeah, Senor Agent X.
Agent.
I think.
Not lawyer X.
They're all on big contracts for long years, and not one of them's been worth their salt. So,
correct.
What did you think? What did you think of Sam Walsh getting an 8-year contract at age 26?
Yeah, but that's smart, because if he wants to leave at the end of the year, or if Geelong want him or whatever, and Geelong have always shown a bit of interest in him,
they can pay up.
We've got him covered. So it's the same as when we had Charlie. Charlie was,
Yeah, but 8 years, Rhys? 8?
It doesn't matter.
Well, imagine. Well, what do you think about giving Jagger Smith that huge contract after 2 games?
I was going to ask. He's still
that was
contracted
another
for
one. That was
year.
my next question.
And he had a contract for next year. Well, why couldn't you have done this next year?
Which one?
Let him play
Jagger
a whole
Smith.
season. Let him play a whole season before you give him another 3 years.
Jagger Smith.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They signed him up the other day for another 3 years at $800 a year.
Yeah.
you recontract a kid like him as soon as possible. And, you know, I think it's a feather in the cap of, you know, being able to keep him. But the way things are going, Jesus Christ, at round 10, I reckon he'd be having second thoughts. So I'm glad they did do it.
Man, anyway, Sebba, which has had a award.
Here we go.
I couldn't split it.
Oh, come on, man. Leave Lewis Young alone. Leave him alone, man.
Oh, come
He didn't
on,
do
Joe.
much. He's my whipping boy. He's my, look at that hair. I don't reckon one of them's going to place.
You gave it to Hudson O'Keefe as well. Come on, Joe. You gave 4 away. You gave Jesus.
You're lucky I didn't give 21 away. You couldn't put them all
come
on.
on, Joe. You're making a mockery out of that award. You got to give it to one player.
No, 4 of them deserve it. There's a few people out there breathing a sigh of relief that they're not there.
I reckon out of those four, the only one I reckon you could genuinely say let the side down a fair bit was Brodie Kemp, because the others.
Because the other three scarred.
Lewis Young is just what he is. He's just a fill in the gaps type player.
Yeah.
Hudson O'Keefe, he's still learning. He's only played a handful of games, and Frankie Evans, first game back from.
That's harsh.
Bad luck.
That is
anyway,
what do you reckon? Were they harsh? Some of those.
Yeah.
Surely.
Very harsh, but that's our man Joe.
Harsh but fair.
David's on our side.
No one's going to knock on his door, are they? So
yeah.
When he gets to Melbourne, I will.
Okay,
don't worry, Rhys. We got to catch up with Joe because he's going to be down here.
I might have to cancel
mid-April.
I'm not coming, David. David's going to shirt front me as soon as he sees me.
David's going to give you the coat hanger. Apparently, it's Easter in Melbourne this week. Is that right?
Well, it's Easter all around the world, Joe. Yes.
No, not here. We're not Christians. We're Buddhist.
Oh, well, that's your bad luck.
Do you know, I went into the shop the other day. I actually saw an Easter egg, right? One Easter egg was $27. I bought the block of chocolate next to it for $1.
No. So, in other words, don't bother going to Thailand over Easter.
Well, you can come. Nothing. Everything's open. So are we playing on Good Friday? Is that right?
Yeah, we are. It's the annual. It's now an annual fixture. North Melbourne versus Carlton. The Battle of Flemington Road.
They'll have to lock the gates to keep the people in.
It's actually called the Super Showdown now.
What's it called?
What?
The Super Showdown. That's what they call it.
Super Showdown? That's ridiculous.
That's what it was called last year, the Super Showdown.
Oh.
Fair enough.
But it'll end up becoming the hospital howler, because that's what they're apparently sharing common, that they're either side of the Royal Children's Hospital, and that's who we're raising money for on Good Friday. So
give that they may grow.
Yes.
Give till it hurts.
So we get our tips.
That betting money for Sebba's bet, don't have it. Put it in the children's hospital.
It's North Melbourne Football Club's biggest, what would you call it, blockbuster for the year. It's usually a sellout, and very well attended. Yeah.
Okay, well, you've put the tips up, so we'll go through them. Vince has gone for Carlton by 8. Sebba's gone for North by 18. I think North by 30. And David's gone for Carlton by 8. Vince.
Oh, wow.
And David
with the same race.
You copied me, did you, Vince?
No, not at all, mate. You're last on the leadership board, so on the leaderboard. So,
well, I will be too, because I'm going to pick them every bloody week.
No, look, I just thought the loss of their ruckman is going to be telling.
Well, he hasn't been suspended yet.
And the other thing is, North Melbourne can only play 3 quarters by the looks of what they did last weekend. I just think that it's real desperation time, and I just think on that ground, Marvel Stadium, we've generally done very well against North in recent years there, and I just get a gut feeling that we might show what we're made of, if we're made of anything at all.
Anyway, so what has Sherry been suspended or not yet?
Yeah, he's gone for 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Because he couldn't wait for it.
North Melbourne applied to try and get it to 2, but in the end, they gave him 3. So that'll be the end of that.
He could have punched his head and got 1.
Exactly. Should have punched him.
He could have punched him in the nose, broken his nose, and only got a week or 2. And
Yeah, but he rubs a bit of blood on his face and gets 3.
yeah, taunting.
Make it make sense, please.
It is a grubby act, though. It is a grubby act, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Anyway, it's like spitting.
Oh, wait up. Sorry.
Come on. Leaderboard. We've got Sebba and Vince leading. I don't know. The number at the side must mean something. So Vince can explain that. Then there's
What it means
Joe
is that
Sebba
Sebba and I are in front on 3 out of 3 tips so far for the year.
I know that, Vince, but what's the number mean?
Sebba's estimate of the margin, he's been out by a total of, what is it there?
Points. 65 points.
65 points.
Not even close.
What's that?
Not even close. 65. But anyway, go on.
Yeah. Anyway, so what am I doing here? I'm just looking at my computer. So that means he's least away from the target. So if he tips, what was your tip for this week coming up? North Melbourne by what?
18 points, I think it was.
18, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whether he tips the right team or not, let's just say Carlton wins by 1 point, and he tips North Melbourne by 18. That means he's tipping. Hang on. That means his tips will stay at 3, and that ultimately is the main figure that we're looking at. But the figure in brackets will go up by 19 because he's 19 points away from the actual margin. Okay.
I know, but
anyway. If Carlton wins by 8, if Carlton wins by 1 and I've tipped Carlton by 8, well then my tips will go up to 4, and then I'm 7 points away from the result, so I'll go up to 80 in the bracketed margin. Okay.
So what you're saying is we need a university degree to understand your points.
Geez, you guys are hopeless. Don't worry about the bracketed margins at the moment. Just look at the total amount of tips. At the moment, Sebba and I are in front on 3. You're on 2, and Rhys is on 1.
And I'm going.
So who's on first? Okay, David, we're going to say goodbye to David. So, David, thanks a lot. I hope your team wins.
No worries.
And we'll see you next week. We're going to be next Monday. Is that right, Vince?
Yes, Easter Monday. We're giving everyone Easter Sunday to spend with their families. So Easter Monday night, 7:30, straight after the Geelong Hawthorn game.
All right. Okay, so it's you know what time it is, don't you? And in that video, it's a very slim big Vincenz. So, Vince?
Is that right, Joe?
Let it rip.
Okay. Well, we've had a long discussion tonight that's touched on a lot of issues that I wanted to talk about tonight. And to some extent, your little, what would we call it at the start? Your
speech.
Your speech at the front sort of took a bit of wind out of my sails. But at the same time, I thought it was brilliantly written, Joe, if that was indeed you that wrote it. So
it was. Why do people think I use ChatGPT? I'm 64 years old. I don't even know what ChatGPT does. So anyway.
I'm only kidding.
Things like that.
Well, no, I wrote it. If you ever need a speech written, Sebba, give it to me. That's all I can do.
I was A+ in English.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, it's clear to me that we've spoken a lot about Michael Voss tonight and whether he should be there, shouldn't be there, should get the sack or shouldn't, etc. I try and take a more macro approach to these things. And what we're seeing here is a repeat yet again of what we've seen with David Teague and Brendan Bolton and Mick Malthouse and all the other coaches in the last 25 years. They've all been sacked. If Michael Voss gets the sack, and I think he will eventually, when the board just has to do something, he'll be the 8th coach in 24 years to have been sacked. starting with Wayne Britton back in 2002. Now, you can't have this amount of coaches all fail without there being something at the heart of the problem that goes way deeper than just the ability of the coach. And Michael Voss might be no good at coaching. He very well might be terrible, right, as a coach. But we've seen some highly successful coaches even try at Carlton and get nowhere. The club, in my opinion, is one of the most deceptive and deceitful clubs in the competition at the moment because it does not come clean with its supporters and members. It's all smoke and mirrors. They are brilliant at PR and brilliant at selling you the message and brilliant at getting you on board and getting you all excited at the right time of the year. But they are not being fair income with us. And I believe it all stems at the top. The fish rots from the head. I've been saying it for years. And nothing is going to change at Carlton. I don't care how many senior coaches you bring in. I don't care how many people that you turn over in the football department. If at the core of it all is a rotten board of directors that just have no football acumen whatsoever, okay? And I include the director who's meant to be in charge of football, who's been there for 4.5 or nearly 5 years now. No idea, in my opinion, what the hell he's doing there, other than getting paid to be there. Now, we need to be fair income. Apparently, at the president's luncheon yesterday, Rob Priestley made a Freudian slip. He used the word that we were in a reset, and then he went on to say rebuild before he realised what he said and then tried to wind it all back. That's letting us in to what's really going on. We are about to rebuild this team and rebuild the football department. And I think that's what Graham Wright's idea is, because it was interesting during the week that both Priestley and Wright were seen to be together releasing, guess what? Yet another plan. This time a 3-year plan to rebuild the list. Okay? And I don't believe that they're being fair income with us. They just don't want to use the word rebuild. But that's effectively what we're doing. That's why at the end of this year, when nearly 20 players, I think it is, come out of contract, you can look forward to seeing, in my opinion, probably upwards of 15 players leaving. They are going to do some wholesale changes to this list, in my view. If they can't trade them, they'll just simply delist them and they'll just get on a whole stack of new players. And it's going to take a long time to get back to anything close to playing in deep into the finals. Now, they said that their aim is to make the top 10. That's how low we've set the bar now. We're now setting our sights on making a top 10 so that we can play in one of those wildcard finals. That's how low the bar has been set now. Now, I don't know about you, but I think Michael Voss is on a hiding to nothing. I don't think he's got the answers. I don't think he'll be there much longer. If we keep playing the way we're playing and we keep losing the way we're losing, it's just heartbreaking for everybody. Something will have to give eventually. As usual, what the board does to escape accountability is to claim yet another scapegoat. And the scapegoat is always in the form of the senior coach. That's why 8 of them will end up being sacked within 24 years, because the board escapes the microscope on itself. These people have no idea about the fabric about a football club. They are corporate elites. That's what they are. All they do is keep bringing on one of their mates after another onto the board. As one steps off, another one steps on. And that's why they try to keep it changing so that no one can actually identify it as one board for a length of time. Priestley's been in there for just over 12 months. So what he will say is, oh, look, I've only been in the chair for 12 months. Give me some time. But the reality is he's been there since Luke Sayers became the president. And that was 4.5 years ago in September of 2021. So he knows exactly what it's all about. Okay. And yes, he's the president now, but what are they going to do? What are they going to do that's been any different to the past? Are we going to put all of our faith in Graham Wright? Is he the Messiah in a long list of people who have been claimed as the Messiah of the Carlton Football Club? All of those Messiahs have come and gone and failed. Whether it's Dick Pratt, when he became our president, he was only there for a year or two to try and get us back out of the doldrums financially. Chris Judd was recruited to the club as a Messiah. Yeah, he won a Brownlow medal. But what else? We made a semi-final when Chris Judd was our captain in 2011.
And then they scapegoated the coach then too.
Well, that's right.
But he should not have been scapegoated.
They brought in Dennis Pagan back in the early 2000s as a premiership coach, which was going to get us out of the doldrums because, you know, they sacked Wayne Britton. He didn't succeed in 5 years. Then they brought a favourite son in Brett Ratton. They claimed him as a scapegoat after he got us into the finals. And then when we had one poor year with a lot of injuries, what did they do? They knifed him. Then Mick Malthouse, and we all know how that started and finished. Now, he was very successful at West Coast, very successful at Collingwood, but at Carlton, he failed or was seen to have failed. But as he will tell you, no one can succeed at this club because everything around you is not as it should be in a successful club, a club that's got a culture of success. We used to be a successful club in the 25 years that I can remember of the 20th century, and that was between 1975 and 2000. I personally witnessed 5 premierships during that time. But since the early 2000s until now, this last 25 years have been nothing but a disaster. And we've seen plenty of teams bottom out with us and then rise again. And then they win premierships, like the Brisbane Lions. 10 years ago when we hit rock bottom, Hawthorn had just won the third of their three-peat in 2015. They've since gone back down, brought in some great players, traded out some old ones, brought in a coach like Sam Mitchell who understands the modern game. And where have they been in the last 2 years? Playing finals and ready to take part in it again. They're all going past us again. Carlton is now a club which is struggling for relevance. We are now in the bracket of clubs like St Kilda and North Melbourne and probably to a lesser extent Melbourne because they've at least had a premiership in the last 5 years. But this is the bracket of clubs that we're with now. And we're no longer a destination club. We haven't been for many, many years. A lot of people see the Carlton coaching position as a poison chalice because every coach that's come to us and tried and failed has barely coached again. I think Brett Ratton might have been the only one who got a job at St Kilda a few years after he got sacked at Carlton. No one else has gone to coach again. And I dare say when Voss gets sacked, he will not go on to coach again either. So stop looking for a Messiah. We need to change this club from within. And it won't change from within until it changes at the top. And I'm sorry to say they have their power base so entrenched. They have all the rules in place so that they can never lose power, this board. The only thing that could possibly stop them is a very high-profile person within the club who's backed up by a lot of very well-entrenched lawyers who are prepared to do a lot of legal work for not a lot of money in order to try and topple this board, because that's what it's going to take. I don't believe this board, with all of its people that are on there now, especially some of the woke characters that we all know about, have any idea in terms of making our club successful on the field. One of the things that Priestley mentioned at the AGM, and he was at pains to say it, was make no mistake, I know everyone thinks that we're just all about business and we're all about the off-field, but our focus is about making Carlton successful on the field. That's our number one priority. Well, that's all words, because within 2 weeks, the first thing that they released at board level was their environmental, social and governance action plan. Yet another woke piece of rubbish I don't believe that they have any idea what they're doing in there. They're putting all of their faith behind Graham Wright. And if he doesn't get this right, we're just going to be back at square one again.
Hey, Vince, I've got a
So
question for
that's
you.
all I've got to say about it. But until someone has the guts to take it on at the top, I dare say nothing is going to change. It's just going to go through yet another cycle, another 5 years, get another coach in who's going to find out that they haven't got everything else in place around them to make the club successful. And every premiership coach who's coached a premiership in the last 25 years will tell you that you have to have everything going for you at the club. The administration, the football department, the high performance area, everything's got to be in place for you to be successful on the last day in September. And I just can't see us being anything close to that at the moment.
Vince, I've got a question for you. It's reiterating what Lisa has said in the chat. It does feel like it's impossible. Is it impossible? Is it impossible to flip this board on its head? Is it impossible?
It's only possible. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm just getting a drum roll that's coming through my phone for some reason. I'm not sure why I'm getting it through my phone. I might just come out and come back to you, Sebba. It's very annoying to me, so I'll come back in a sec.
That's your stupid drum roll, Joe.
No, it's not. I'm not playing it.
I know you're not. He's probably cooking it. But thank you in the chat. I'm loving all your comments so far.
I'm not playing drum roll.
There's been some very good comments in the chat. Let's see what we have. Sir 98, he's lost complete belief in the football club. I mean, haven't we all? Really, haven't we all? Bo, Tuesday's very own co-host. I'm actually surprised the club didn't post anything on Instagram today. Maybe they read the room this time after being handed. Yeah, that's true. Lisa again. Let's ruin some more young players. There we go. Vince, is it
Sorry
impossible?
about that.
Is it impossible to change this board? Take it away.
It's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult. And what you've got to do is you've got to have a collection of high-profile and very capable individuals who are going to be able to be put up against the people that are there on the board now. But also, more importantly, people with real football acumen. When you look at other clubs that have brought in football people, the Brisbane Lions, for example, it's no surprise to me, and it shouldn't be any surprise to anyone else, that guess who they've got on their board? The great Lee Matthews, right? He knows his stuff. Now, I'm sorry, but I don't believe Greg Williams has what it takes to be a director on that board and direct that football department. I just don't. Mm-hmm. Because probably the best he could be is a skills coach who teaches the players how to kick or hand pass.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that's my personal view.
Yep.
And it's the view of a lot of other people that I've spoken to. But they needed someone at the time to replace Chris Judd, and he was the only one that they could get. Mm-hmm. And in order to get him, he insisted on getting a paid position at the club in order to agree to be on the board, because by rights they can't directly pay him to be on the board, but they can create a position at the club which remunerates him in a way that does exactly the same thing. What his KPIs are and what his performance has been to achieve that remuneration, I don't know. I'd love to know what the club expects of him. But the fact of the matter is we've now got a brand new football manager in Chris Davies. He needs to be given some time.
Yep.
But these people are not at the top of the chain. And unless your culture is set by the board level down in the right way, it's not going to filter down in the right way. So
I think you hit the nail on the head during your...
So I'm sorry, but until you have people directing your club from board level down who are respected for their football acumen, who know what they're talking about when it comes to running a football club, not a business club, because really you might as well rename the Carlton Football Club the Carlton Corporate Club or the Carlton Business Club. That's what they've been good at. But on field, it's been atrocious. And they, in my opinion, as much as all of their words are, oh, no, we want to achieve on-field success, they don't prove it by their actions.
Yeah,
They just don't.
If
Well
they do,
done.
they've got a funny way of showing it.
Michael Voss. You'll get your wish, but don't be fooled, Sebba. You might celebrate the day that they sack Michael Voss and say, "Oh, fantastic! Great, we finally got rid of him." Don't think that the next person's going to be able to do any better.
No, but I don't. It's not the fact that I know what you mean. It's not the fact of celebrating it. I don't think he was the right person at the time, and I still don't think he's the right person.
The whole
now.
appointment of Michael Voss was flawed from the start.
Yes, correct.
Because the reason for appointing him is because Luke Sayers, wanted someone who had previously coached before, despite the fact that all of the coaches in the previous 20 years, with the exception of Mick Malthouse, all coached premierships at their first club. So to get someone who'd coached at another club already was already going against the trend.
Yeah.
We had an opportunity to get a coach like Adam Kingsley, and he was considered to be not high profile enough. Yeah. A nobody. Well, guess what? Even Craig McRae was technically a nobody before Collingwood gave him the opportunity. Within 2 years, he's a premiership coach.
Yeah.
Right? But Vince, do you think things would be different if we had Kingsley or McRae? Because you haven't changed the board.
No, I don't believe that anyone can succeed. Oh, look, my personal opinion, I'd love to be proven wrong, but I strongly believe that culture is a vital ingredient in achieving the sort of success that we're all craving. And if you don't have a board that sets the right culture from the top, it's destined for failure. Exactly. And these people are so removed from the reality of most of us. They live in their high towers. They just can't relate to any of us, in my opinion. As much as they try and put out all these puff pieces about, how they used to be Carlton supporters and used to go to the game back at Princes Park and all that, it's all fluff. Typical PR fluff.
Anyway,
the reality is that they don't. But anyway,
you want to chuck up the next ones? Because nothing's showing.
We've gone way over tonight, haven't we?
Yeah, here's Sebba's bet of the week.
That was
he got Gold Coast home. He got the Western Bulldogs home, and his team Arsenal to lift the cup. No cup.
That game
was no cup. Robbo, no cup.
No cup, no cash.
No cup, no cash.
No cup.
Hey, if being a millionaire of one leg lost Maltese, mate, Jesus, I'd be living in the high towers with Priestley. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, no cup. Robbo, no cup.
You can buy his house if you want. It's up for sale at the moment. $45 million, apparently.
Yeah, it'll curse me even more. Have you got the next one?
Yeah, I've got to get it because it got sent to me late. So just hang on.
Hang on.
Just bear with me because I've got to find where it is. No. I've got to find where it is. Here it comes. Stupid system. Bet of the week. It'll come up now.
Okay. All right. So I've taken the early price on North Melbourne at $2.30. Gold Coast at the line. They are versing
Melbourne
19.5.
So you think they'll beat them by at least 20?
Yep. I got Sydney head to head against West Coast at $1.29 and Brisbane against the Pies. And again, we're not affiliated with any sporting company. And if you're under the age of 18, do not gamble.
No, you just go up to the TAB and ask someone over 18 to bet for you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, don't do that.
Like we used to do when we were at school. Hey, mate, or we used to go to the pub and can you buy us some beers? You're underage. Yeah, that's the whole point of asking you idiot. Anyway, so as Sebba says, don't bet responsibly, bet big or go home. Is that right?
No, I did not say that. But if you want to, do it.
And also get a skinful of grog into you when you do bet so that you have all your senses around you.
Yeah, dick.
Anyway, hey, that brings us close to the end. Before we go, I just want to thank.
I'm going to just quickly go.
Hang
through
on,
the
you can do
results
your,
of the
you can
round, is that
do,
right?
you can have your Vince Lochisano hour in a minute. All right, just let me. You
Oh,
can do
sorry.
your Cheerios and just calm down. Okay.
Sorry, Joe. I just thought you might have forgotten about the results of the other game. Sorry, mate.
Well, I did because I don't really care, but you can go through the results of the other games. Go.
Okay, well, it started off on the Thursday night when Geelong played Adelaide down at the Cattery, and it was a very tight game in the end, but 68-60, and Geelong go on their merry way, and Adelaide just can't seem to beat Geelong down at
Adelaide
Kardinia
cheated
Park.
again. Cheated again.
Oh, I couldn't believe that. You know, seriously, the umpiring when it comes to that
Cheated again.
deliberate out of bounds and whatever, and also the player who's the ball came off his foot, he ended up getting the free kick somehow. I think he bluffed the umpire.
I think that was the correct decision.
But to say that they didn't have time because they'd already played on is just wrong. They should call the ball back.
Bring it back.
Let it go.
And then that Isaac Rankin, instead of shepherding, go for the mark. Hungry shit.
Anyway,
we
want to get through this. Collingwood on the Friday night easily accounted for the GWS Giants 87-54 by 33 points. Another 33-point result the following day, also at Marvel Stadium. St Kilda at one stage actually took the lead in the last quarter, but then the Brisbane Lions really showed them what they're made of and came back, kicked 6 goals and won by 33 points.
Dogs.
So 113-80. Then, of course, we had the game.
You know why they've only won one premiership?
Why?
Because they fucking deserve it.
Okay.
Anyway, keep going.
Over in the West, I'm glad you're getting all this off your chest, Joe. Fremantle 103 thrashed Richmond 43. They should have won by a lot more. I mean, they kicked about 25 points or something. Unbelievable,
bit wet there,
really.
though, Vince. In fairness, it was a very wet day.
13 goals, 25, I think it was in the end, 103. Should have won by 100. The following game was the Essendon North Melbourne match, which I watched a fair bit of, and geez, I tell you what, North were pretty impressive for 3 quarters, and then they all of a sudden just took the foot off the pedal, and Essendon came back hard at them, but they ran out of time. So in the end, North Melbourne won by 2 goals, 81-69. And Essendon is one of only 2 teams, I think, Essendon and Richmond, that haven't won a game yet.
Yeah.
Then we've got the 2 games on Sunday, which, of course, was our game against Melbourne. And the other game was another upset of some, I guess, probably the one upset of the round. Geez, haven't the Eagles done well? They've won 2 in a row. When was the last time they won 2 games in a row? They beat Port Adelaide on their home deck on the Adelaide Oval, 92-90, and it just goes to show you if you put a bit of faith in the young players and coach them and train them and teach them, you'll eventually get somewhere. And
key word, coach.
The Eagles coach is doing pretty well there.
There's a key word you said there, Vince. Coach and train.
Yeah.
Coach and train them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
of
I
course,
just stop you for a
the
second?
Carlton Melbourne game, Melbourne by 23.
I was watching some interview today. I can't remember where Patrick Cripps talks about, we've got to have fun because we're at work and all that. Did you see that hoo-ha that they did for Frankie, Taylor Byrne getting included in the team?
No, Taylor Byrne. To me, that was
party.
just so over the top. Yeah, it was cringeworthy.
Why would you release that?
I think it was so over the top.
Yeah, Bucky mentioned it today.
This is another PR. This is another
Bucky
PR stunt.
it.
This is what I mean by deceitful. It's all. Seriously, it's just a performance. They should be sent to the Academy Awards every year because they'd win a lot of awards. It's all designed to make the supporters feel warm and fuzzy and all that. I just thought it was over the top myself.
Doesn't look like
I mean, don't get me wrong. I was happy for the kid. And I was wrapped when he kicked his first goal and they all got around him.
I was just waiting for Bozo the Clown to come out.
Joe, I'll quickly go through the ladder. Go through the ladder because we're just about to hit the 2-hour mark. The ladder is, as we speak, everyone has now played 3 games except for St Kilda and the Giants, who have played 4, and they're the only 2 teams that will get a bye over the Easter weekend. And then when we go to gather round in Adelaide, everyone will have played 4 games. So at the moment, Gold Coast on top on 12 points with 3 wins, and the Western Bulldogs are the same. They're the only 2 undefeated teams. Then there's a whole string of teams on 8 points, led by Fremantle. Then Sydney Swans, Hawthorn, and North Melbourne make up the top 6.
Whoa.
The next 4 teams are the ones that are currently holding the wildcard positions. They're Collingwood in 7th, Melbourne in 8th, West Coast Eagles in 9th. That's the highest they've been for a long time. And Geelong in 10th. And then there are another 6 teams on 1 win, only 4 points, and that's Port Adelaide, Brisbane, St Kilda, the Giants, and ourselves, Carlton, in 16th position. Yeah. And then, as I said earlier, Essendon and Richmond, the only 2 winless teams in 17th and 18th, respectively.
Give me another one, Joe. I want one more. Come on, give me another one.
It's hard being this. You know, it's difficult being this bad consistently. It takes effort. You guys think it's not, but it takes a lot of effort. Anyway, on that note,
what's coming up this week?
No, we're coming up to the end of the show. But first, a word of thanks to our sponsors at General Chicken, the proud sponsors of Blue Sunday. Gee, they've got some smarts. 20 years of experience, high-quality local ingredients, affordable pricing, seniors discounts. So I'm going to bring my seniors card. And if you're having a birthday, wedding, engagement, bar mitzvah, divorce party, give them a call. I'm sure they'd love to cater for it. Coming up this week, we have, obviously, the jewel of the crown, the Blue Sunday, which is on a Sunday.
Which will be on Monday.
It'll be on next Monday. Tomorrow night, the boys on the jumper punch. So Rocco, Bo, Mars. Watch out! I think Rocco's going to go to town tomorrow. I think he's going to put the Vincano to shame. The Rocco's rant. And Wednesday night, forever rivals. So there's going to be a lot of losers there on Wednesday night. Also, every round, depending on when we play, watch out for the social media posts. We're going to have the review and preview of the preview show and match review show. Selection Blues. Bo doing live game day, and then I'm assuming straight after the game on Friday, probably give it an hour or so, you'll have emergency meeting hosted by Mars.
Hey, just quietly, I just want to give a big shout out, a very big shout out to Zach and Dylan. They're ripping it apart. I think they're doing a great job. Shout out to you two boys. He's doing a great job.
And also, a big shout out to Bo, who does all of our graphics across all the shows. He's got a full-time job and he puts in an effort. So big thanks to Bo. Vince,
absolutely.
Now it's time for the Vince Pochesano show. Go.
The cheerio. I just wanted to say a big cheerio to 2 of my favourite people in Adelaide. I speak of Kevin and Natalie Carboni, who are great Carlton supporters and staunch Carlton people, in fact, and caught up with them a couple of weeks ago when they came to Melbourne. So a big hello to Kevin and Natalie and all their family. And I can assure you, if I'm up in Adelaide, I'll be popping past. But hopefully Carlton can give you a bit more joy when we have gather round. But don't hold your breath.
So only one cheerio. No one's birthday, no bar mitzvahs, celebrations, weddings, divorces.
I've got a birthday next week. Next week, I'll be mentioning a birthday. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'll name one of them in advance. My nephew Noah, who turns 18 years of age on Easter Saturday, is also my godson. So a big hello to Noah. He's a great guy, and hopefully Carlton can give you a win on Good Friday, and you can celebrate on Saturday.
Let's hope. Sebba, come on, you got to have a few cheerios.
I got one. I have to get one this guy. Big shout out to Bozo, the coach, Bozo the clown. That's good.
Enzo Valentino
is watching this show.
You know me.
Watching this show.
I just want to give a big shout out to all the people that messaged me for my birthday. Some of you messaged me well before a lot of my family, so I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, as you guys know, I love you guys in the chat. You guys are the reason why we do this. I did have complete head loss at one stage today, and I do think David Rhys Jones will shirt from me at one point when I need him. But yeah, no, I do appreciate everything you guys do for us in watching, liking, sharing it to your friends, family, dogs, cats, whatever you share it to, because we do appreciate it. But yeah, all your guys' input in the chat, whether you're lambasting me or whether you love it or hate it, we do appreciate it a lot. Yeah, leave a comment. If you thought I was an absolute dickhead, well, then leave a comment and tell me I was a dickhead. But yeah, I appreciate it. I'm sure the boys appreciate it. So yeah, thank you for everything you guys do.
And I'm going to give a shout out just to everyone who was in the chat. Thanks a lot. We probably didn't have as many viewers as we normally have, but our loyal viewers, they're all there. They all know who they are. I don't need to single them out. But anyway, so on that note, I'm going to wish everyone a happy Easter. Not that I know much about it. If anyone's on the road, please drive safely. Don't drink and drive. There's a lot of idiots and there's a lot of people that don't make it through the Easter weekend, and it doesn't hurt anyone but the families. They're the ones that suffer the most. So please, I know we joke around about the bedding and all that, but have a very safe Easter. And if you're going anywhere, just be careful. Pays to get there 5 minutes later than not at all. Okay, so just be safe.
I think a lot of people are shelving their travel plans not only for Easter but also for Gather Round because of the incredible increase in the cost of petrol and diesel. So
how much is a litre of petrol? How much is a litre of petrol there?
A litre of diesel now, I think most places you'll find is at around $3.20. And I can tell you that about a month ago, it was half of that. It was about $1. You could get it for $1.60, $1.65.
Okay, so
and also unleaded petrol, I think, is under that. I think it's about $2.80, maybe.
Fucked. So fucked.
So over here in Thailand, the price of diesel, I've just got to do a quick conversion, is about $2.10. And the price
they probably don't have the demand for it.
Rubbish. Vince, we're a city of 11 million. We've got 11 million people to live here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Most of the trucks are diesel, all the transport. And the price of unleaded petrol, I filled up my motorbike today, cost me a whole $5. The price was about $1.75.
LPG.
Yeah, don't know that. I don't know. Is that what you've got, LPG?
Yeah, I got an LPG car.
This is what happens when you don't control your own destiny and you don't produce your own energy and you're relying on imports from around the world. And
get electric cars.
Despite being legally, you're supposed to be holding 90 days worth of fuel for the country. You let it dwindle down to 28 days. That's what happens when you've got an incompetent, disgusting, socialist, communist government.
Let's leave it there.
All right.
So, can
you tell them I better tell Donald to hurry up.
Absolutely pathetic they are.
And
I'll be there on the 11th of April, and I'm hiring a car, and I need the price of petrol to come down. Okay.
Yeah.
So on behalf of myself, Big Vincenz, Sebba, and David Rhys Jones, I hope you have a happy Easter, have a great week, and I hope your football team wins. And don't forget to keep watching Blue Sunday and the Jumper Punch channel. So on behalf of all of us here at the Jumper Punch, adios.
Go Blues.
Go Blues.
Go Blues.
For him and himself.